In this video, we want to finish up building this main screen, okay? So as we said in the previous video, here we have this code, we duplicated this code, okay, 3 times, okay, and we don't want this, okay? So what we want to have this into a single place, okay, so that if we want to update this, okay, the update will take place throughout the whole app, okay? So the way I like to do this, I usually like to create first of all a view modifier, okay, and then I simply add an extension of a view, okay, and I add my view modifier to the extension, okay. And if what I just said doesn't make any sense to you, don't worry, we will see step by step how we can do it, okay. So as we said, the first thing we want to do, we want to come here and we want to create a new folder. So here, right click, new group, and we will call it view modifiers. And now inside this view modifiers file or folder, what we want to create a new file, and we will call this, we will select this Swift file, and for the name we will call it h1 style modifier. And the reason why we call this h1 style modifier is simply because yeah, as you can see, most of these, okay, are h1, okay, so this is just the name that I chose. Of course you can choose a different name, okay. So yeah, what we want to do, the first thing we want to do, we want to create this hub, and we will call it h1 style modifier, and as we said, it's gonna to be a view modifier. And now inside this view modifier, what we want to do, we want to create a function. So we want a body, and now it's complaining because yeah, I think we need to import SwiftUI. So yeah, it's going to be SwiftUI, and normally our first error should go away. And now what we want to do, we want to go back to our home view. So what we want to do, yeah, we can copy this, okay, so we can copy this and put it inside our view modifier. And yeah, what we are saying is, okay, we want whatever we pass here, okay, we want to apply a specific foreground style, and we want to also apply for specific font and this specific foreground style, okay. And yeah, we don't want to actually pass this text. So what we want to do inside this body, we will create this content, okay. And now instead of this text, what we want to pass this content, okay. And now because we can change this color, okay, because we can decide later that we don't want this white color, maybe we want a different color, okay, or we want to change this style, this on size, okay, because here, for example, for the size, this size is smaller than this, okay. So what we can do here, when we create a view modifier, what we can do, we can actually pass whatever we want to change. So here, for example, the first thing we can change the font name. So here it's going to be font name, and for the type it's going to be a string. We can also change the size. So here we can also create a size parameter. And I think the last thing we can also change, we can change the color, okay. So here is going to be color, and we want it to be of type color, okay, perfect. And now here we can create an init, okay. So every time we create this, we can call this init and change whatever we want to change here, okay. And now what we can do, we can copy this, for example, for the font name. So we can cut this, and here we can provide this as a default value, okay. And we can do the same thing for this size. So we can cut this, and here we can provide the default value for the size, and the same goes for a color. So here we can cut this, and here for a color we want to provide the default value, okay. And now of course we can copy this and put it here for the font name, and for the size we can put this size. And here for the color, we can simply provide a color, okay, perfect. And now that we have this view modifier, don't worry guys, I will come back to this code to explain everything, okay. So now that we have this view modifier, the next thing we want to do, we want to create an extension. So here, right click, new group, and we will call it extensions. And here inside these extensions, what we want to do, we want to create a new file. And for this new file, we will call it view extension. And here we want to import SwiftUI. And here, as we said, it's going to be an extension, and we want an extension of our view. Okay. And now inside this extension of our view, what we want to create a function, and we will call it h1 style. And now what we want to do, we simply want to call this self, and we want to call the modifier. And here the modifier we want h1 style modifier. Okay, so it's going to be h1 style modifier. And as we said, when we call this, we can either provide what we want. Okay, we can provide these parameters, or we can simply leave it empty. Okay, because here we have some default value. Okay, so let me explain this again. So what I just did, we created a view modifier. Okay, and then we use this view modifier for this view. Okay, so how does it work? So basically, almost everything in SwiftUI is a view. Okay, as you can see, this text is a view. So almost everything is a view. Okay, and the reason why we create this view extension is simply because we want to be able to come here on this view, for example, and simply call this, okay, as a function. So as you can see, we created this extension, so we can simply call this h1 style. Okay, and if I paste it here, we will see that we won't have any error. Okay, because as you can see, this h1 style is an extension of a view. Okay, and because this text is a view, that's the reason why we don't have any error. Okay, so this is why we created this view extension. Okay, and each view has a modifier, so that's why we created this view modifier. Okay, and what we did inside this view modifier, we did the exact same thing that we did here. Okay, because as we said, we don't want to duplicate this code. Okay, we want it to be at a single place. Okay, simply because it will make our code look nicer and well organized. Okay, we want to be, our goal is to be good developers. Okay, so we want to write a clean code. Okay, so basically that's the reason why we created this view modifier, and we did the exact same thing that we did here. Okay, so now is the time to change this. Okay, so yeah, we can start with this quiz. So pay attention to this quiz. So if I come here and I comment out this, and I simply add this h1 style, as you can see, normally we are supposed to have the same result. Okay, and as you can see, we still have the same result. Okay, and to prove you that this is working, let me comment out this and you will see the difference. And as you can see, now our quiz is blue. Okay, and we don't have anything, any style on this quiz. Okay, so let's put this back. Okay, this h1 style. And as we said, we want to be able to change, if we want to be able to change this maybe font or this color. Okay, so what we are going to do, we will go back to this view extension. Okay, and when we call this h1 style, what we want to do, we want to say that, okay, we can provide the color. Okay, it's going to be of type color, and of course the color we still want this color, so this white. So we basically want the same thing, so we can even copy everything here and paste it here. And now when we call this guy, what we can do, we can simply provide what we have here. Okay, so for the font name, we want it to be this font name. Okay, for the size, we want it to be this size, and for the color, we want it to be this color. And now that we have this, we can actually go back here, and what we can do, we can remove this default value. Okay, because we don't want to duplicate our code, so we can remove this. And normally everything is supposed to be still working here on this home view. Let's see. And as you can see, everything is still working, okay? But now what we can do, we can, let's say we want to change the size. So what we can do, we can provide the size. So let's say, for example, we want a size of 100. And as you can see, this text is getting bigger, okay? So this is working, okay? So we can either provide this H1 style, okay, without any parameters, okay? Or if we want to change the font name, or if we want to change the size or the color, we're able to do it, okay? So for now, we don't want to change anything, so we can remove this, okay? And we can also remove this comment. And we want to do the same thing because this motorcycle is pretty much the same thing as this one except for the size. So we can copy this, and down here what we want to do, we want to remove this and simply paste what we have. And now for the size, we can set it to a smaller size. Okay, perfect. And everything is working perfectly, okay? And I think we can also do the same thing for this on play and win, okay? So what we can do, if we come here, as you notice here, we have two things that we can set, okay? For this play and win, we want a different font and we also want a different size, okay? So we can comment out this and we can paste our H1 style, and here we want to provide a specific font. And here we can simply copy this, paste it here, and we also want to specify a size, okay? And for us it's gonna be size 16, okay? And let's see if everything is still working as before. And as you can see, everything is working perfectly, okay? So we are getting closer to a finished app, okay? But we are taking it easy, okay? Simply because we want to write a good code, okay? And we want to write a maintainable code, okay? Because it's extremely important for you guys to ponder on this code, on your code, okay? Because when you create a big application, it's essential to have a clean code, because tomorrow you might change something, okay, and you want your future self to be happy, okay? Because let's say we had this on duplicate code everywhere, okay? As the app grows, you will see that we have this code, the same code, like maybe like 15 times or maybe 100 times, okay? And that's a lot, and we don't want that, okay? We want to be able to have it in a single place, so that if we want to update our code, we simply come here and we can update what we want to update, okay? So with that said, I think we still have to polish this on card view, okay? Because right now it does not look like a finished app. So the first thing we want to do, we want to remove this padding and this one too. And we want to apply a padding on this V stack. And yeah, after this play and win, what we want to do, we simply want to add a spacer. Okay, perfect. And as you can see, it's looking good, it's looking beautiful, okay? And now what we want to do, we want to add our second card view, okay? So what we can do, we can come up here, and what we want to duplicate this, okay? So here we had our first card view, so we simply want to duplicate this, and we can remove this first and second. And normally we are supposed to see our second card view, and as you can see, we're able to see it, except for the fact that yeah, for the second one we want this image, okay? And we also want to change this on test, okay? So let's go back to our card view. So let me toggle this, and yeah, inside our card view, so as we said, we want to be able to provide the name, okay, of this image, and we also want to be able to provide the title, okay? So let's do that. So if we come here, we said the first thing we want to do, we want to get the image name, and it's gonna to be a string, and we also want to get the title. And here what we can do, we can simply copy this, and instead of this motorcycle, we can provide this image name, okay? And we want to do the same thing for this card title. Here we want to get the title. Okay, perfect. And now if we go up here, now we have to provide this image name and this title. Okay, so if we click on this fix, for the image name we simply want to paste what we had, and here for this title we want to provide this motorcycle, and we want to do the same thing for this second one. So if we click here, we click on this fix, here for the image name it's going to be car, and for the title it's going to be cars. And normally everything should be working as before, and as you can see everything is working perfectly. Okay, we have this beautiful home page. Okay, and that's it for this video. I hope you have enjoyed it, and I will see you in the next video where we will keep building our app. Okay, so in the meantime, take care. Bye bye.